Get the party started. All right. Good morning, Texas Power Up. First one of the year. First one of the year. So let's get started with any gratitude, any shout outs that we have for our fellow friends on the team or teammates. Helen, I'm going to you. Who are you shouting out or what do you have gratitude for?
Hey, good morning. Shout out and gratitude to the amazing Valencia for giving her time and talent to Place Nation by way of Converted. Super excited to be able, yay, she popped on. Super excited to be able to take that. That was one of my, I have to do this, along with a long list of Debbie DeGroat things. So just so grateful that she is pouring into us at the top of the year so that we can implement it and get things done.
I love that. Yes, huge shout out to Valencia and the converted program that she's put together. Very, very appreciative of that. Anybody else have any shout outs or gratitude this morning that they want to share with everybody on the Texas Power Up?
I am
Yeah.
thankful to be here. Thank y'all for having me from El Paso. And want to give a big shout out to our team who has 10 deals this week between listings and buyers.
Oh, hey, baby.
Mhm.
2024. All right. I love it. Great. So awesome. Love to hear that. Um, I've got a shout out for our December launch class in the Austin area, mainly Aiden and Chelsea and Victoria. Literally, probably one of the most engaged and energetic launch classes that we have ever had. And they're already working with clients. So that's really, really cool. And then I want to shout out Anna on our Houston team. We talked about open houses recently, and guess what? She penned it out another one from open houses. These are multiple deals she's getting from open houses. So again, if you kind of maybe haven't been doing open houses, this is your reminder, get back out there. These people are, if they're getting in their car, they're pretty serious. They already know what the interest rates are. So love to see that. So shout out to Aiden and Chelsea and Victoria and Anna. If there's any other shout outs, if not, I'm gonna move on. Okay. All right. Daniel Weiser, yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out everyone showing up to scriptings on Tuesday and Wednesdays in the office. It's like pretty amazing. I was just thinking specifically of Chelsea, just how fast her dialogue improves. And it's just amazing to watch everyone showing up, to actually see people set appointments and actually see people internalizing objections, responses to objections, and actually getting better. So appreciate everyone that shows up Tuesday and Wednesdays. I know it's early, hard to get there on time, and yet there's always a group. So appreciate that.
Right on, right on. And shout out to Daniel leading that for us. Really, really cool. Thank you, Daniel. And thanks for everyone who shows up. Awesome. Speaking of announcements, Converted with Valencia, we already heard Helen's awesome shout out. But if you haven't been, paying attention, and you're like, oh, what Converted? So Converted with the Valencia started this week. They are doing 8 weeks, I believe. This was week 1. It's Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Here's what I would say about that. If you wanted to increase your lead conversion, if you wanted to work smarter, if you wanted to close more deals this year and you missed out, maybe signing up, talk to your team leader about getting you in there just in case there's a way to make up week 1 so you could jump in week 2 through 8. So Valencia, anything you want to share on that? Do you know how many people you guys had, by the way?
I was typing and you were talking faster than I could type. We currently have 560 Place Nation members signed up for Converted. Take
Wow.
advantage of it. I'm gonna put the email in the chat for you guys to reach out and harass them for an extra seat because it is completely free to all of you Place family. So take advantage of this 8-week cram session of great information.
Right on, and harass away. This is your opportunity. 100%. I love that. Another announcement I have for you guys, there is a buyer agency open forum with Fred Said next Thursday at 2 p.m. So what I would say about this is if all of these lawsuits are freaking you out, or if you're like, what lawsuit? What are you talking about? Well, definitely you want to go to that one. Specifically, if you want to drill down on buyer agency and becoming a real estate professional in the new landscape of real estate, join Fred next Thursday, 2 p.m. I'm going to link it here in the chat for you. Place call night is it next Thursday? I think it is next Thursday already. I know in Austin we're doing bingo night. If you maybe your team's not doing a call night, you can do a call night by yourself, right? It's what it is an opportunity for you in the afternoon to get in touch with people that you normally wouldn't be following up with in the afternoon, because a lot of our lead gen time is in that morning time. And the reason for that isn't because everyone's home. It's because if we don't get it done in the morning, we're probably not going to get it done at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Are there any other announcements that I have forgotten or that we want to share with the group here? Cool. Well, so we have a topic today, and it's such a good topic because Debbie DeGroat also has, she's also teaching on this later this afternoon, or not this specific thing, but on listings themselves. So I'm going to pop into the chat before we leave her link if you want to continue your education just sort of on the listing topic. But today our topic was requested by a few of you guys, and I distinctly remember Dana for sure. Basically, you take a listing, and besides price, how are we creatively selling it? This morning I have Chastity in the El Paso area joining us to go over what she does. And I'd love to hear after that, any of you that if there's anything you want to add, if you're like, oh, this is what I do in addition to pricing right, in order to sell my listings. And then at the end, I have a slide deck that I want to share with you guys. What I did was crowdsource our top agents and pulled them and then put it in a slide deck of what they do, so that I could share their tactics all in one slide deck. Does that sound good to everybody? Good to go? Okay, awesome. So let me spotlight you, Miss Chastity. Hold on, and I'm going to make you also a co-host in case you need anything. So Chastity, I told everyone you're in El Paso. Are there any other areas that you serve?
No, just El Paso. We're one little 40-minute circle, thankfully.
Oh, well, I like that. Cuts down on the traffic, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's crazy bad because we have so much growth here. So you feel like you in Dallas in the traffic sometimes, but
Ooh.
it's not. Thankfully, we're just one county, a big county, but just one county. So all of El Paso County.
Love that. Love that. Let's get right to it then. Besides price, what are other creative ways? Like, what are you guys doing over there to sell your listings?
If you don't mind, I know we were skipping over price because we think that is
Oh, go for it. No.
the common sense thing, right? But what I've noticed is it has not been the most common sense thing. We think price, but we're still not pricing them right. I think we're still well in our market, and I'm speaking for El Paso, and I know it's different for you all. But what I see here is, even though we're past 2 years over COVID, we are still in some parts pricing like we're in a COVID market. And if you came in this business during COVID and you don't know how to mine out the data to say, okay, wait, I cannot compare that. You know, we're in Texas. Texas is a non-disclosure state. So if it did sell for 30,000 over, we have to close it for 30,000 over in the MLS. So we have, in effect, inflated our markets. So we have to know how to pull that data out, and we know how to be able to communicate that to the seller to say, hey, I know, because they are still saying when you sit with them, but my neighbor sold for 30,000 more. Okay. When did your neighbor sell? Do you remember when your neighbor sold? Yeah, I think he sold about 1.5 years ago. Okay, well, let me explain why he sold for 30,000 more, and let me explain why we cannot sell for 30,000 more. So we're still seeing those conversations. So don't forget about that. Make sure you're looking at those numbers. And when we go, we're no longer pricing our homes on sold data. We're pricing it on listed data. And our sale, I mean, I don't have listings sitting on the market. Mine all sell within the first 2 weeks. Even in that, we sold 91 listings last year, and our average days on market were under 14 days.
Wow. In a shifting market.
Yeah, and in some cases, we had multiple offers when multiple offer wasn't common in that area, because the conversation we're having with pricing with the seller is, hey, once you get them to trust you and you show them the data, we're actually pricing it under what the average says it should be priced. $5,000 to $8,000 in our market has been the sweet spot for us if I come in under that where it says it should be listed. I
Okay,
think it's
let me
because
go back on that. So whatever the market data says, you're actually pricing 5 to 8,000 under that, and you're the next one that sells almost every time.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
And okay, so I'm going to take you back to something else then. What about you? Maybe there are multiple agents that are, trying to get this listing, and, the client says, well, Adelina over here said, she could sell it for 350. And you're telling me 340. So, respectfully, Chastity, I'd like to get 350. She's going to try it.
And I'll tell them I'll get them 350 if they listen to my strategy. In most cases, we'll get them over. And then I show them. So when I go, I take 2 net sheets. I take the net sheet where I say, and I take the net sheet where the market says.
Okay.
If I take the net sheet where the market says, I know buyers are asking for everything when we're at the top of the market. We are no longer selling homes at the top of the market because we are in an unprecedented problem right now in our market. Sellers still believe it's a seller's market and buyers still believe it's a buyer's market. So we have these 2 entities doing this before they even ever come into house. Because now they have the data online and they're saying, no way, like, nope. But if I get them in the house, now it's like, no, I'm not paying anything. I didn't, nobody paid anything for me. And I paid, 15,000 over because we're military. And in some cases we have those people that bought in COVID selling now. And so that's the whole battle that we're, battling, because they're not recouping that money. And then you got the buyer over here was like, no, like that's over. Like now I need it. I'm not selling where I'm coming from. I don't have the money. So we're now in a situation where we're battling all these conversations at the table with the seller. And if you don't have the education and you don't understand how to pull the data out to have that conversation, you're going to lose at the table because the agent that can have that conversation is the one winning. And so I go with those 2 net sheets. I also go with a full market analysis. Some people are still going with a one-liner. But I'm doing the full Cloud CMA. If y'all have Cloud CMA, I'm doing the full Cloud CMA where I'm showing this. And in some cases, I'm printing the pictures. If there is one property I want them to focus on, I'm printing the pictures. Or if you take a laptop, I'm still paper. I don't do electronics at the listing table. I'm showing them. I'm like putting this data. And the other document that is powerful to take, especially when you have a seller that's fighting you on price, is your absorption rate data. So you can get that out of, if y'all are in Flex, you have Domus in there. If you've never played with Domus.
I think so. Essentially, how are you explaining that data to them?
So when I take the absorption rate for their zip code, I'm highlighting before I go. I already highlight my data with a highlighter pen that I want them to focus on. Okay. So I'm highlighting, I do their zip code, and then I highlight their price range in all those categories. And I'm circling in a red pen the data I want them to focus on to tell my story. So we're showing it. Look, and red is bad, right? So I'm already doing the neurolinguistics on them.
Totally. When you, Chaz, when you say 5 to 8,000 below, like market value, if you will, is there a certain price point you're doing that in? Are you doing that based on a certain list price? Any feedback you have? Delby had a question on that.
Great question. Now our average price range in El Paso is 260.
Okay.
48.5% of everybody looking for a house is in that price range.
Okay.
So I'm using that data and that price and above. Really, if we're around a 200 mark or below, 225 or below, we don't list them that low because those are flying off the shelf here. They're more competitive because that's what that was what was affordable with the interest rate here. So especially under 200, if we had a nice house at 185, no way. Like I'm not underpricing it unless I really wanted I've had a few sellers that just gave me full reign, and so I played with that data with the list because I knew I would get them what it was worth anyway. And we still got multiple offers with them offering over.
So the
So
feedback
just
you have,
testing.
so what I'm thinking about as we're talking to multiple cities, I'm thinking in your city, what's the entry level market? That's probably okay. You probably don't need to do a whole lot for your entry level bracket, right? Then you
Yep.
got your mid-range bracket. Your mid-range bracket, you need a strategy for. And then
Right.
higher end bracket, you need to have an even more aggressive strategy for, right? Because at every tier, there's less and less buyers right now, right? Would you agree that you're seeing that in almost every market?
Yep.
Now, there are pockets that are starting to turn, right? There are certain areas of Austin, for example, that we're starting to see like quick offers, and we weren't seeing that last year. So what Chastity's doing is she's going in and she's determining not based on closed sales, but she's looking at active listings, who she's actively competing against, and she's saying, how do I position mine to sell next?
Yep. And so we got to be under the actives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's apples to apples. If it's not, then that's not a conversation. But if I am apples to apples with somebody that's been listed and they've been on the market 15 days, why would I come in priced over them unless we have something they don't have?
Yeah, think about that, guys. Like, there's a property that's been on the market 15 days, it hasn't sold, but we're gonna come in above that. Like, in what world would that ever make sense in anything else, right? Absolutely. Love that. Once you've got them at a price that seems to work, et cetera, is there anything that you guys are doing that feels like, yeah, we're really like we're good at marketing. We're real good.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the next piece, is getting them ready for marketing. We are a high relocation town, so most buyers here, in your areas too, but here more so because we are the second largest Army installation in the United States. So we have a lot, and we're the highest concentrate of federal agents, right? Because we're a border town. So our online marketing has to be tight. So if it's always professional photography, and some of you are gonna say, Dutch Chastity, that's a no-brainer. There's some people in this call that it is not a no-brainer to, and that's okay. Now you know better, because it is. You have to do professional. I can't believe we're in a market I still see in cell phone pictures. You have to do, and you have to have a good photographer. Don't get the cheap one. Those pictures have to shine. And if the house is vacant, we do virtual staging. We don't do in-house staging here. And that just, it doesn't matter in our market because they are buying remote in most cases. So we are creating that marketing story through virtual staging. And we only virtually stage 3 rooms.
Who do you guys use for virtual staging right now? Do you know?
Visual Stager.
Okay, visual stager, write that down, guys. Okay, which 3 rooms are you virtually staging?
The living room, dining room, master bedroom.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
Which is what they love. And my listing coordinator does that, and it's inexpensive. I mean, we probably virtually stage those 3 rooms for less than $20.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
We taught her how to do it, and she does it. That's a part of her thing. The other thing, you remember back in the day, who was that agent in Asheville that wrote that book on pre-certified homes? I see her face with the glasses. She just joined Place.
Oh no, Lisa Archer.
Yeah. Did she
Yeah.
write a book about a pre-certified home a few years ago?
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. I gotta look that
Yeah.
up.
I'll grab that book because I think it's relevant again, because buyers are pickier than ever because they are paying a higher interest rate. So they're walking in and they're not settling for the things that they sold in the market before us. How many are y'all see? Everybody, you know it, raise your hand virtually. You are seeing more terminations because of inspections.
100%, yes.
Crazy, like crazy stuff. Like we're getting them and they're asking for almost everything on the list. And so, and they'll just terminate. It's crazy. So we're back to, okay, let's talk about, maybe we don't do a pre-inspection, but we all know the top 5 things that come back on a resale inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Roof maintenance. If the GFCI was not code compliant, it was code compliant when it was built, but not now, because they make it sound like the house is about to burn down if it don't have a GFCI where the dishwasher plug is now. So you got to think about some of those things, right? Light bulbs. You think that's simple, but when houses are vacant, light bulbs blow easier. If you're going in there and your photographer went in there and they didn't change out the light bulbs, or the light bulb colors don't match, they're using soft white against bright in same room, those things matter. Every little thing matters, and it's got to be clean. So professional pictures, virtual staging, if they are living there, they got to downgrade everything. Everything's got to come down. It's got to be minimalist, and you got to walk through now and help them prepare for those pictures.
Love
Move
that.
things off the cabinets, move furniture around that makes it look crowded. If it needs caulk, paint, landscaping, they now have to do those things. And they're like, but I don't want to spend money. Okay, well, drop it another 10,000.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
1,500 to fix the things to get you 10 more thousand, or we just drop it 10,000, because we know when we're selling as is, it's not apples to apples for dollar for what needs to be done to the house. The buyer's like, well, oh my God, well, it's gonna take me $10,000 to paint this house.
Right
$2
on.
a square foot here. It's not gonna cost $10,000, but that's the mentality of the buyer. So you got to know that if you're a listing agent totally, and you haven't been in the buyer world in a while, I would encourage you to start working with some buyers, and not to take from your team, but you got to keep your finger on the pulse of the psychology of the buyer to be a good listing agent. On our team, they can do listings or buyers, but they have to earn their right to be a listing agent. And that's going through, they have to do so many buyers, and then they have to do the listing training, because it is different. And I think you can't be a successful listing agent if you don't understand how the buying process and psychology works.
Delty, you had a question? I see your hand.
Yeah, so just regarding prepping the house, I'm big on pricing, prepping, right? That's a huge thing as a strong listing agent. Do you offer a service, and as a team, do you go in and help them prep? Do you have a list? Like, here's what I expect you to do, or do you have an upcharge? How do you handle that with your clients? I'm curious.
We do have a prepare to list little sheet that goes out that Lauren sends them when I go to the listing appointment, because I do all the listings. I'm walking through and I'm showing them that, and they're taking notes. I tell them to take notes. So they're taking notes, and I'm saying, move this, put this in the garage. We don't take pictures of the garage here. So we fill the garage up, and people don't care about that. So I'm walking through and showing them. I don't have a service. I do have a vendor list that we give them. So we have somebody that can help them for anything they need. And I don't charge them for that, because that's my job as a listing agent. I don't believe in charging them for what my job is already is.
Thank you.
Heard that. Awesome.
So you may think of a pre-listing inspection. If not, you kind of think of it yourself, and you go over, if you're selling a lot, you're getting these repair requests, you're seeing the same trends. So we're going over those trends in there. And now you got to know your competition, because they are interviewing now more than I think past statistics have shown. And so what does set you apart? It can no longer be, I've just sold 91 homes in the last year. You got to lead now with data, and you got to show them and kind of force it. And I will tell you that I take great pride. There's 2 right now that did not hire me because I told them to list lower. This has been 50 days ago, and both of them are still on the market with the agent they hired.
Absolutely.
And I take great pride in texting him, because he asked me to keep up with him, because he was only going to give her a certain amount of time. So I keep texting him, hi, how's it going? I want to say that price didn't work out for you, did you? But we'll keep it classy. But you know, and they know, there's nothing you can do if they hire somebody else, but just watch it, because I watch everyone that hires somebody else, because one, I want to make sure, was I wrong? Like, did I totally miss the mark on this one? Or do I still got it? And what I'm telling them is right. I am not crazy, because there was a $50,000 swing on one of them that listed, but it's good to know. The other thing is show ready. The time is gone that you can just pop out your house in the morning and leave the beds unmade and dishes in the sink when you are on the market to sell. You have to be show ready all the time. So then that leads me to, now we have to set the expectation management of what that should look like when we're selling. And if they have a lot going on, like I had one lady here, and her husband was deployed. She had 4 kids, and she was a nurse on a night shift.
Wow.
That was crazy, right? You have to know your client. So how do I help her be successful being on the market in her situation. How do I help her with that? If I have to go before the showing and make that bed and clean up because my military spouse is taxed out, then I'm going to go do that. She tries to clean before she goes to sleep, but if I have to go in there to make sure, I'll go in there to make sure. But that's just having that conversation with them and being sure ready, and then knowing the timeline. We can't be on crunch time anymore. So we're working 90 days out from when they list. Like if they want to list in April, I'm starting to work with them now to get that house ready for April. Plus, I'm going on the market 60 days prior, even though my market doesn't say that, because I don't want them to be stressed. I can work out closing dates. I can work out lease backs. I cannot work out if I am on the market too late and I don't have a buyer and now they're paying 2 house payments. It's knowing your population, right? We're military population. They don't have the money to carry 2 mortgages. So I need to help them time it where they are not carrying 2 mortgages on their home. And so I think there's just a multifaceted approach going on here now that it's taking more for them to be successful.
Anybody have any questions? Anything that you want to ask Chastity? All right. You know what I love, Chas? We were so on the same wavelength, because if I pull up my slide deck right now of what I pulled my agents of, hey, what does that look like? Let me share it with you guys, and I'll send it out in a link as well. But literally everything you're going to see is pre-listing, upfront advice on condition and staging to depersonalize in order to appeal to the biggest buyer pool, right? Explaining the importance of home buyers being able to see themselves living in the home when they view it online and in person, so that they don't get distracted with lots of items. And the assumption that people make that when a home is clean and organized, they assume that the owner has taken care of that property over the years and has good maintenance routines, right?
Yeah.
And I want to go over, let me see. I don't know where I'm at. Hold on. I want to go back on this one really quick, because I want to show you guys, here we go. There we go. I want to show you guys something real quick here. This one, there's a staging guide from Deldy. Deldy, I stole this from you, that I really liked. And when you open it up in the slide deck, you guys can see what Deldy's putting out, and I bet Chastity's using something very similar.
Beautiful. Mine is not that beautiful. I need a
Well, you know what? We're all here to help each other. So like, I'm sure Deldy can help us with this, but essentially they're able to walk through and identify what they need to do for each one. There's one from Jeanette Spinelli's group of like what they do. So I gave you an example of theirs as well. And then, being honest and upfront and having those awkward and difficult conversations. They need to know that getting 0 showings in a week is not normal, even in any market, right? Especially with a brand new listing. Virtual staging that Chastity talked about. Virtual staging, we use Box Brownie. And then there's another one, Virtual Staging AI, if you need a budget model. And then Chastity, what was yours real quick?
Visual Stager.
Visual Stager. So now you have 3 options there that are going to not add a lot of cost, but add a lot of impact. Logistics, right? Like I talked through all the logistics on this slide. More logistics. Marketing. So there's a few marketing tabs. This is something that one of our agents, Yvette, puts together. This is like a list of benefits and upgrades and a list of repairs that the client has done, right? And it's provided by the owner. More marketing, communication, what that communication looks like. And one thing that's working in our market is don't be afraid of reverse proposals. What that looks like is, hey, Chastity, I know your client just started looking recently. My seller has given instruction that they'd accept, $500,000 and pay $10,000 towards closing costs if we close by February 29th. It's a significant deal, and I wanted you to be able to share it with your client in case they're wanting a great deal. Don't be afraid of reverse proposing them and getting the ball moved forward, right? More communication. And then I wanted to wrap with, darn it, it's price. Back to what Chastity started with, right? So script for getting the listing even when the price is higher than you think it should be on for. So what that would sound like is, Tony, I hear you, and I ultimately want your home to sell at the largest number possible. With that said, overpricing can lead to problems with few or no showings and eventually lead to a stigmatized home if it sits on the market more than the average. Buyers are going to drive past it or see it online and ask what's wrong with that house. I'll tell you what, I have more faith in our marketing plan than any other marketing plan out there. And if there's a realtor who can get that number for you, it's me. So let's give that number a shot, but let's have a handshake agreement that if we don't have serious traction after 2 weekends on the market, you and I are going to revisit that number and adjust. Does that sound like something that you guys can all take and go out there and price listings to sell and then market them to sell?
Yes, I love that. That was all good stuff, and I can't wait for you to share that, because I'm not I don't package things prettily that I need more help on. But the last thing I forgot I wanted to tell y'all is know your number. Like in El Paso, we don't see real serious interest until day 14, which is real interesting to me. I can't really figure that out yet. But so I tell the seller, hey, we're not doing nothing for 2 weeks. the 14th day, if I don't have an offer by that day, something is wrong, and then we're going to talk. So for the first 2 weeks, I've already set the expectation. Don't be pounding me too much, right? Because we don't see nothing the first 2 weeks. So know your numbers and be able to be a part of setting the expectation. Setting expectation management now is more important than anything.
I love that. I love that. So Chas, will you pop your contact information so we can save you in our phone? And guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Chastity sold 91 listings last year in her market. Everything that's on our slide deck are things that actually sold listings for us last year. It's not something that like I Googled and I'm like, what are some cool things to do? That's awesome. Great. I love Google too, but what's really working? And so we wanted to have the conversation on what's really working. You guys are the best. We'll see you next week. And I appreciate you. I will send out all of these links that everyone shared. I love it. And I can't wait to see us all crush it this year. 2024, we've got an amazing runway in front of us. This is the time to take advantage of it, help a lot of people, and help ourselves too. You guys have a good rest of your day. We'll talk soon.
Happy New Year.